It's time to check out the last rehearsal clips of the Eurovision 2026 season. Hi, I'm Henry aka Hennes. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, classical musician and massive Eurovision fan. Today I'm taking a look at the final, second semi-final rehearsal clips and the automatic qualifier rehearsals, giving a bit of vocal analysis as a musician and also having a look at the staging, seeing how these staging choices might affect the country's chances in the contest itself. I've done reactions to all the other rehearsal photos and videos if you want to go and check those out, and I have already reacted to all the actual songs themselves from the perspective of my musician brain if you're interested in having a bit of musical insight into some of the entries this year. I've had a tiny look at these clips, but I was kind of busy actually when most of these clips came out, so I've looked at these a lot less than I had the other ones previously, so this is pretty much a first reaction to these clips today. I'm not going to be able to show or play the full clips probably because of copyright, but the extended reaction where you will be able to see and hear the full clips will be over on my Patreon, along with other unedited reactions and exclusive content. So without further ado, let's get into this. So starting with Australia, which is exciting. Wow, the moon looks great. It's so well lit, I feel like. Vocals sound great, obviously. Love the kind of sparkly effects in the background. This colour palette is really working for me. Okay, Australia, obviously very much kind of winner contender, if not at least jury winner contender. So let's talk about vocals first of all. She sounds great here. This is one of the best vocal performances I've heard from her. I think a couple times in the pre-parties, I think Delta specifically had quite bad luck with tech issues. So the performances were great and she is such a great vocalist, but I think she's kind of corrected any minor intonation errors. The only reason I picked up on any maybe slight pitch issues in her vocals or like slight strain beforehand is because she is so good and I'm just like so entranced by her vocal that I think things like that were more noticeable. But no, she sounds absolutely brilliant here. Jury are going to love this vocal. I mean, this tableau in itself looks amazing. I think the moon really works. If we got kind of LED strip on it, lighting it, or maybe that's just the reflection of other light, I think it looks really great. Obviously it fits well with the theme of the song. I think they might as well just go heavy into that eclipse vocal, and I think this is the moon world and they're gonna go into a sun world maybe in the second half or something. I think I've read in the Reddit description. Love how much smoke there is. I think that's actually really working. I know it's such a simple effect that so many people use, but I think it looks brilliant, especially with the light. It looks kind of like sun streams coming out from behind her, which is that kind of effect you get with an actual eclipse, kind of illuminating her with the cape stuff draping down with all those Swarovski crystals. She literally looks so angelic, looks stunning. And the smoke's honestly looking like clouds, so she looks like she is up in the sky. I just think that is an absolutely stunning visual. Love the sandy colour palette. I think that really just suits her anyway as a person, and it's a bit of a nod to the sand dunes of Australia that we got in the music video. So yeah, I think the Australian delegation have done a great job. I'm excited to see the surprises they have in store though, because this is obviously the first chorus and we know it's going to climax up to something big later. What I'd said before is I think the staging might be a bit more accessible for casual audiences than Finland, who I think is maybe a bit more kind of a direct competitor for Australia, which Finland is a bit more intense. And obviously there's an interesting stat, something like there are obviously a lot less English language songs in the contest this year, and same with last year as there had been. So in a way, English language songs are maybe having a bit more of an advantage than they had before because more people understand it. But the other counter argument is Australia struggle more with televote than Finland do, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what way that goes. And honestly with jury, her vocals are great and it's such a like polished performance. Maybe the song is a bit more generic, so it's kind of hard to know what the juries are going to do. It is kind of competing with Finland, who are maybe a bit more kind of artistic, slightly a bit more intense, a bit more emotionally intense and gripping. But then again, this is more kind of polished and conventional, so I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but no notes really. It looks brilliant. So let's move on to Ukraine. I think the wind is really working here. Interesting colour scheme. Oh, she sounds so good. I like the switch of colour scheme there. The steady cam looks really great. Yes, go on, Laleka. She added that belt in. I think usually in the studio edit that first chorus is in head voice. Still carry water. But she full on belted that. That was great. I think they are actually kind of going quite, not simplistic. Yeah, no, I think it is somewhat simplistic just in comparison to other performances. I know she said in an interview that she wanted to go from like the idea of like fragmentation to unity. Don't know if I'm quite seeing that yet, but I do love the fabric effect. I think that just visually looks gorgeous. I think I prefer the fabric on the LEDs and this fabric that kind of falls down though. I don't know if maybe that looks slightly messy, but maybe that's what they're going for. I'm not too sure, but I do like the kind of orangey hues and then it switches to more kind of bluey, cyan-y colours. And I think that's a nice visual switch up. I really like that steady cam around her. I think that looked great. I think her engagement with the camera is really effective, and it is obviously quite an emotionally it can be quite an emotionally impactful song. So I think all that connection is really going to work, especially with the widespread knowledge of the context of what Ukraine are going through. And I think this song really resonates more so because of that. I think this outfit's looking really great. I love the kind of black she's got going on with her fingers. So it's just like a glove effect because it doesn't really look like she's wearing a glove. Kind of just looks painted. It's really giving like blurry face 21 Pilots. If you know, you know. But yeah, I love the kind of extra strips that is kind of like that fragmentation thing. It kind of feels like working your way back up from all the kind of rubble and scraps, which again, quite an apt metaphor for Ukraine. Vocally, she sounded great. Again, like with Delta, I think this is one of her best vocal performances I've heard. And she's got quite a unique tone. It's quite kind of folky and ethereal, but then she can go into that more belted, chesty, kind of Slavic white voice sound. So I think there's a lot of variety there, a lot of jury appeal. I think the song is very interesting. Because it's not the biggest like visual spectacle ever, I think it actually might work in Ukraine's favour a bit because it's a bit of a break from the intensity, whereas some ones I think have maybe been a bit too minimalistic and simple and it hasn't really worked for the song as such, like Luxembourg, for example. So I don't know, but I think they're in for a great shot. They're definitely going to qualify, and I think they can push for top 5 if it is kind of visually engaging enough and doesn't look too messy with the fabric. But I think I'd have to see the full performance to really get a good gauge of that. But yeah, they've done a great job, and it does look beautiful. So moving, I also like the bandura on stage. I feel like we'll probably get a few close-ups of that maybe in the intro where you can hear it more clearly. But yeah, they've done a great job. Moving on to Albania. And yeah, of course we have the subtitles. Such an intense dramatic opening. That looks so effective, him just immersed in the smoke, just a silhouette. Such a strong vocalist, so in tune. So many like interesting colours to his voice. He's kind of, it's more kind of chesty and warm, but then he kind of pulls back as he does that kind of subtle vibrato, a lot less vocal fold connection, so more air is kind of able to come through, but still enough connection that he doesn't go and like have a voice crack. He's a very strong vocalist. Yeah, visually I love the way it kind of pans up to him and you can just see the silhouette in the back. I think that looks great, creates a lot of intrigue and mystery, especially with how intense the intro of this song is. We obviously have the woman in the back. I don't know if that actually is his mother, but I think with the subtitles it's quite clear that she's kind of representing a motherly figure. I really do see what they're going with, and this woman is absolutely gorgeous, and I think it's great to have a visual figure there telling the story. Her face is obviously filling up a lot of the screen, and it is obviously very big. I don't know if it may come across slightly goofy that there's such a massive face on the screen. I don't know. It might be a bit intense for some people possibly, but then again I don't really know what else you do. I don't know, maybe I'd wait and have the mother come in a bit smaller kind of next to him as we pan in closer. I don't know. I think it's fine, but I think for some people it might be a bit off-putting possibly. The subtitles, I love the use of subtitles. The song obviously has such a impactful meaning about kind of the Albanian diaspora moving away from home and their mothers missing their children. I think so many will be able to resonate with that across Europe, not just Albania. Obviously Albania can't vote for themselves anyway, so that wouldn't matter. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of this font. It's kind of giving like Times New Roman. I guess the kind of timeless, nostalgic retro feel to it is cool, but I think I prefer did they have like a yellow font in the music video? I think I prefer the music video font personally, but then again, maybe yellow would be a bit too much for this visual. I just don't know. I feel like maybe this font looks a bit cheap, possibly, but I really like the smoke. I love that we've just got one tiny strip of LEDs at the bottom of the screen, and that's kind of illuminating the smoke, and it's like very much backlit, so you can just see his silhouette. I I think visually it is really effective, and I'm kind of excited to see how the story kind of progresses visually throughout the song. So I think they've done a good job, and I do think they're in for a very strong chance of qualification. Good running order spot, but also he's such a great vocalist, especially as everyone is going to be able to see the lyrics. They're going to know the meaning of the song, and the song is going to hit a lot harder, which I think will get a decent amount of televote love. Not like obviously top, because it's not the biggest televote magnet ever, but I'm sure it will come top 10 with the televote, and then jury, yeah, is obviously kind of jury bait. So yeah, I'm sure this will qualify and probably do quite well in the final as well. So let's move on to Malta. Obviously a lot of hype surrounding Malta. Oh wow. It's panning. So is he on like a rotating platform? Oh, here are the petals. Very red. He adds the new note. Nice little choice there. And obviously very intense, and this is the climax of the song. I think he's on a platform that's moving. I know there's some kind of technology they made to do this performance. I don't quite know what's going on technically, but I know all the screens are like translucent, so I think the kind of visuals that look like he's spinning around quickly are kind of being like projected onto these screens. I don't know how it's working. It's very technically advanced, so you have to let me know the specific details. I never quite understood what they meant in the descriptions of it, but it looks very cool. I think his vocals are sounding good. He's got quite a nice, unique vocal tone. I mean, the song is obviously quite timeless, nostalgic, so I think in that sense it stands out. When the red comes in and the petals are happening and it's spinning around very quickly, it is quite chaotic, but I do think that is the vibe. Maybe I'd like a bit more chaotic characterization from him in that bit, because he still very much felt quite charismatic and like he was happily singing, but I think everything around him's going on and it's quite crazy. I think it would be cool if, but I mean, also he's probably spinning around quickly and he has to like really lock in and focus, but it would be quite cool if he could look a bit more like stressed and almost quite manic, possibly. But again, this is just a rehearsal. I wouldn't expect him to be on his best game, but yeah, it's looking cool. I'm excited to see the rest of the performance, to see how it builds up to this moment though, because we've obviously been thrown right in the deep end with this 30-second clip. But yeah, no, it is looking great. The team have done a good job. I do feel good about qualification. I think it's unlucky that with the running order, this is coming after another male ballad, which I think naturally people will start to, maybe some casuals will start to get a bit bored of the male ballads by the time we get to this section of Malta's performance. But I think the jury will love this. Again, a bit of a shame that he's in such a strong jury semi-final, so we just kind of have to hope that juries haven't kind of locked in completely their ranking by the time we get this late in the running order, which they shouldn't do, because that would be unfair. He does have a lot of competition, but I'm sure he'll, especially with this cool staging and the quite unique, nostalgic, again, timeless mid-century pop feel of the song, I think it will be appreciated by juries. Malta struggle with the televote, so I'm not too sure how well they're going to do, but again, it's quite a visually engaging performance, so I think it will get enough definitely to, well, maybe not definitely, I don't know, but I'm thinking it will get enough to push it into qualification territory. I think it will struggle with televote in the final just because of Malta's unfortunate track record with the televote, not because I think it's bad at all. I do see this coming top 10, probably definitely top 15 with the jury in the final, which will probably be enough to keep it within the top 15 of the whole thing, I would have hoped. That's kind of my initial prediction now. Okay, moving on to the final competing country of this video, Norway. I love the way he takes the stage. Very grand. I like the camera panning round. Simple, but I think creates excitement. I like how they're really committing to the colour scheme. He sounds great. Oh, I wanted more. Okay, so obviously very similar to MGP, but I don't think there was that much need to change it too much, because I think it was a bit of a surprise winner from MGP, but I think for good reason. So if it can shock everyone in a national final setting, I don't really see why it can't have the same kind of impact in the Eurovision context. Again, kind of very much into the red colour scheme, and I think that's working for them, although there is kind of, I guess we've just had Malta who kind of end in a kind of more intense red, but I don't know, I don't think people are going to care about that. I love the way it's just set up very conventionally, very, look, we are giving you a bit of a rocky performance. His outfit very much reminiscent of like Freddie Mercury 80s vibes, but also kind of giving like Harry Styles in a way. So I feel like can engage younger and older audiences with this look he's got going on. It's quite a timeless look that transcends eras, so I think that's a good shout from them. I assume he'll probably, like he did in the national final, come off of this strip because they are quite limited to just a singular strip. But I think it's quite unique to have the rock band kind of in a line rather than kind of more conventional sort of semicircle or cluster setting. I think it's just quite a unique setup. I think a very fun way to end the semi-final. His vocals are sounding really good. I think he kind of had overworked his voice slightly during the pre-parties, but here his pitch is so good, and you are allowed auto-tune in MGP, and I do think he had that during the national final, but it's nice to hear that without it he sounds the exact same. So vocally he's sounding great, which I think is good because juries don't tend to like rock songs like this really, but if he's got such a good vocal then they can't really deny that it's got some like actual musical quality to it, which I think it does, the actual rock vibe of it anyway. It's got some unique chords and stuff, but it's up to the juries what they do on Thursday. Yeah, so I don't think it will get paid dust by juries. I think there'll be some love for this, especially as it's kind of quite a pleasing, happy, upbeat closer. I think it will leave the juries in a good mood as well as casual voters, so I think it will get some points here and there. Well, I think it'll get more than some points here and there. I do think it could end up top 10 in the jury, maybe like 9th or 10th in the jury, and then I think this is going to get a lot of televote love. This is very much a song for casuals, especially as it's closing. I think it leaves a good lasting impression, and it's kind of fun, upbeat, a bit of humour, kind of horny humour, and we know that voters tend to kind of punish more overtly sexual performances, but I feel like this is done in a bit more of a comedic way, maybe more like Erika Vikman, who wasn't completely punished. There was still kind of people that appreciated that. I feel like that's the same kind of vein that and world that Jonas is existing in. So yeah, I think it's in for a good shot. Okay, let's move on to our automatic qualifiers. Oh, it's Austria. I was expecting Italy, but that's fine. I love the climbing frames. And the silver chest plate looks cool. Nice bit of distortion in the voice. Oh, I like that we're going for colour here. I mean, those animal masks are so distinct. The kind of metallic, geometric sort of vibe is really cool. That's a good shot. Yeah, his vocals are sounding decent. Obviously, it's quite a vocally fun song, actually. He's got that kind of lower but kind of more vocal fry tone, but then he does kind of go up into the high notes with a bit of distortion, so got some cool stuff going on there. I think it's like slightly chaotic, but in quite a stripped back, simple, distinct way. I just really think the animal masks are quite distinct and fun. He obviously loves kind of moving to the song and he commands the stage well. I like the climbing frame vibe. I'm kind of excited to see that in a bit more use. We saw from the rehearsal photos, the animals kind of climbing up the frame, interacting with that. So I think that's a good way of kind of maintaining visual engagement, because the whole thing is kind of quite upbeat and fun. You kind of want to have some elements of it that give a bit of a switch up, so it's not just them bouncing on stage for 3 minutes. So yeah, interesting. I like the colour scheme, like we're going for silvers and blues, kind of a well done colour scheme, but I think that's fine. I think it works for him. I think this actually will be quite a fun closer for the final. Yeah, I think it will be upbeat, everyone will be having a good time. I don't know if they're going to really convey much of the meaning of the song that clearly, because it is actually quite a cool meaning of the song, kind of concept of people going to the club for more sinister reasons than to just dance and have a good time, which I think is quite a relevant theme just in the world in general. So yeah, no, I kind of hope that they convey that theme a bit. But yeah, this is looking great. Definitely elevation from the national final, which was questionable, but that wasn't Cosmo's fault. That was ORF being a bit lazy, I think. Okay, by the looks of things, we are moving on to France, which this is very exciting. I love her outfit. Oh, we're right at the end. Quite abstract avant-garde movements. Slightly flat, but it was alright. Wow. Oh, I love the energy. I love the intensity. Oh, she's such a good performer. Okay, yeah, I absolutely love this outfit, the kind of somewhat corset but waistcoat vibe with the little flare and kind of waves at the bottom with this kind of wide baggy trouser dress kind of vibe. It's quite unique and interesting. It is quite high fashion, avant-garde, and then she's got her tie, which I feel like is a more modern take on the sort of almost vintage Marie Antoinette look. So a bit of a unique, modern, useful flair she's adding to it. Love the quite simple white. I think it's really effective, really quite striking. I think the outfit is, they've done a great job with that. And also I think her general look, like her braids and hair colour, like she just looks quite striking anyway and has a very angelic look about her, which I think obviously we've seen a lot of her as Euro fans, but casual viewers are going to be like, oh wow, who is this taking the stage? A very intriguing character. I like that the dancers are kind of just fairly simple, all black, just very much ballet backing dancer vibe, but they're doing a great job. I love this kind of like, it's actually quite contemporary in its movement style, quite lyrical. Yeah, it feels very highbrow, the sort of performance that would happen at some kind of fashion show or revealing of a art piece at an art gallery or something. Yeah, really cool. There's a lot of smoke going on, which I think is just adding to the intrigue, because I didn't really notice too much going on with the LEDs, so I guess they're creating stuff with the smoke. I didn't really... What was happening with the lighting, actually? Okay, strobes going on. Yeah, because I was going to say, it's very much just black on the LEDs, but it's still... Is this... I don't know if... Yeah, I think these sparkly stuff is going on the LEDs, but it's very dark on the LEDs, but still so well lit, and just that very striking contrast between the black and white. Like the it seamlessly pans away that she's on this podium, really getting into it. Yeah, she's got an intense, very strong command of the stage and good camera connection. In terms of like winning potential, I don't know if there's anything that visually groundbreaking about it, which I don't think there needs to be, but I also don't think there's anything that groundbreaking in the song either. So I think it might not really quite be enough to get enough like televote to win. I definitely think it could potentially be a jury winning contender, but I think there are others that are giving a bit more of a clear spectacle. Like, I'm thinking Australia and Finland. Yeah, and then the song itself isn't as kind of unique or original, I don't think, as those two, but vocally she sounds great. Slightly flat on the top C6, but it was fine. Yeah, she's obviously got such a great control over her voice. The vibrato is sounding gorgeous, very stable, and yeah, it does look amazing. So I actually don't know who we're going on to next. Germany. I love this outfit. It sounds so good in the arena. That's kind of trippy with the LEDs. They've made it look like two huge boxes. That's so cool. Oh, Sal, hold on. Okay, I love that we've got kind of this bodysuit on with the sequins and then just very not minimalistic, kind of looks like flames on the main body piece with a little bit of a skirt vibe going on, kind of leotard-esque, just with a lot of the leotard missing. I think it looks really cool, unique. She's got a nice kind of strip of highlight on her face, kind of giving almost aquatic, which is interesting. Colour scheme, very obvious, red with a bit of kind of orange and yellow here and there, representing fire. So very, very unique. I have to say, like, obviously this song isn't quite generic, but it's kind of a fun girl bop. I really was like enjoying watching this. Like, it actually did, like, maybe after France, it just kind of really did give me a good feel. So maybe this will actually kind of stand out within wherever it is in the running order. I love the way what they've done with the LEDs, so it looks like it's two rectangle things. It looks really cool, and then she's got this huge platform that I assume she's going to use at some point, so there's a lot of dimension going on. We had the lyrics on the screen, so visually very engaging. Again, I think the kind of big issue is that the song doesn't stand out that much. I think it is catchy, so I do think this could get more televote love than I'd been thinking based on the staging, because it is fun, engaging, and there are a lot of more artistic, abstract, kind of intense ones, and something that's just a bit fun and kind of more standard girl bop-esque might actually stand out more than it would have done in previous years. So good for her. She's sounding great, the dancers look great, she's obviously very experienced. She's a very experienced performer, so is commanding the stage really well. Yeah, I think it's looking good. I just don't think juries are going to really appreciate the song that much, so I don't think it's really necessarily like a top 15 contender. Maybe it could push higher up, I don't know. And yeah, no, to be honest, it could probably push higher, but I think they've done a great job. And also, the intro is going to be just acoustic piano, so actually maybe that will help out with the jury. I don't know, it'll be interesting to hear what that sounds like. But let's move on to Italy. I wonder what country this is. Oh, we do have some props. I love the wedding theme. Okay. Head voice on that note. Was that the final chorus? Yeah, I think so, because he does the ring thing. Okay, I love the idea of a wedding. I think from reading the Reddit description, it kind of tells the whole story from like, I don't know if it goes from like proposal to the whole wedding reception, not quite sure, but looks like we've got a mirror and a seat here, so I suppose maybe the bride or the groom, it's going to be a story of them getting ready for the wedding. I think it's just a very clear, distinct storyline that's going to be means that it stands out and is memorable. For a lot of performances that are more just creating a vibe on stage, I think they're more likely to get lost in something that has a clear, oh, this is the song that was the wedding, this is the song that had the silver man. I just think it's very visually distinct, and I love this wedding LED in the background, those lemon trees maybe, Neapolitan vibes, which is obviously very much Sal da Vinci's vibe and what he's channeling. Like, I don't know what is this. Is like some kind of skirt that's the Italian flag colours. I think it's very in your face, but I think casuals will love that. Vocally, he's sounding good. I don't know if he's a bit tired, but that high note he did in head voice rather than chest voice, which, to be honest, for him, I think I only noticed that being a singer myself and being impressed that was belted in the original, because it is quite a high note. But I think if he did have to opt for the head voice in the actual thing, because maybe his voice was tired or he just knew it was going to be a bit too risky trying to hit that in chest, I don't think it sounded too rocky or obvious that he'd kind of made a vocal flip there. So I think that would be a fine decision. In terms of how this is going to do, honestly, I'm thinking top 5. Definitely, I feel like people have been sleeping on this bit. Italy obviously have their 8-year top 7 streak, and I see no reason for them to end that. I think they've done a brilliant job with staging and their staging concept. I honestly don't think I could have asked for anything better. I just think you have to be distinct and tell a distinct story to do well if you're using your staging to do well. I think juries are going to love it. It's got a great vocal, timeless, kind of fun vibe, and staging looks good. So I think it's going to get 100 plus with jury. And then Televote, I think, are going to eat this up. I see this being top 5 with Televote, possibly even top 3, and kind of shocking people a bit. But I just think it's something that casual viewers absolutely adore. They love culture, they love people having fun, and especially as he's this kind of more mature, really cute, sweet man singing about the love of his life. Like, what is there not to love for a casual viewer? So I think this is going to do so well. They've done such a good job with staging. Italy always do. It's always classy, but with a bit of flair. So let's move on to the UK. Oh, I like that he's got all the machines on the back of the desk. That's cool. Although I can see a crew member behind that one. Oh, we've got choreo. I just saw the cameraman. Might want to fix that. Yes, I love the choreo that the computer heads are doing. I love his pink. Oh, that's new. That's giving, when I say sweet, sweet, you say yum, yum. And he's got distortion on the mic. That's definitely a feature they're allowing a lot more, is distortion on the mic. I noticed that with Romania and Switzerland in these kind of rockier entries. I think that's nice to hear. Yeah, that's a new bit when I say, wait, does it do that in the actual song? I don't think he says that specifically, but that's a good crowd-pleasing moment. I think that's a good job, because obviously I know the BBC's, their approach is actually get televote points this year, so it's good that they've got some kind of engaging thing. I love the outfits, I think very distinct. I love the kind of greeny black feel we had on the LEDs. I think that's a unique colour scheme. All these machines are obviously very authentic to him, so I think that's a good idea, and I like the concept of having the kind of office desks, turning them up, and they've got all his machines on it. I think that's a cool development, and I like how they're kind of framing the stage. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I don't know if it's that visually vibrant enough to do amazingly compared to its kind of direct competitors like Greece. If Armenia makes it, that's Armenia's song literally has the exact same theme as this, pretty much breaking out of like a mundane office job to be more fun. So I don't know. Vocally he's sounding fine. Like the studio edit, it's very much like a chesty, kind of more controlled yell sound, and he does actually go up to some fairly high notes if you actually know anything about vocals, which a lot of juries don't, which is fine, but they're not going to pick up on the actual technically good aspects of this performance and his vocals, like the actual specific range of the notes he's singing. But I just don't really see this doing great with the juries at all. Maybe not 0, maybe like Germany and Austria will appreciate it because it's 1, 2, 3, but I don't know. I would be quite surprised, I think, if this did get 0 points. I feel like, again, I'm thinking Austria and Germany maybe it will get 3, 2 from Germany, 1 from Austria or something like that. No, I do think it could get more than that, but maybe not loads, just because other kind of fun, somewhat humour-based entries have proven, even with Euro fans, I know casuals are different, but I think you can get a bit of a general consensus with with the Eurovision scoreboard and odds and stuff, that people aren't crazy for this song like they are for similar sounding entries, so I don't think it's going to do great. I still think this might be bottom 5, but again, props to the BBC for choosing something a bit different, and props to Sam for also, well, first of all, doing this while having a newborn baby, but also for being authentic. I love his artistry, his vibe. And again, yeah, I really like the choreography and that he's bought the furry computer heads from the music video. Very distinct visual identity. So yeah, they've done an alright job. Okay, so I've now reacted to all of the clips. We have had all the clips from this season of Eurovision. What are your favourites after seeing all the clips? Who do you think is going to do better than you thought before? Who's going to do worse? What are your predictions? Who do you think is qualifying from Semi 2? Because we did see Semi 2 clips in this video. Please let me know all of your opinions. I'm going to be bringing you a semi-final 1 prediction video tomorrow based on all these clips, which I'm kind of nervous about. I can't believe we're so close. Then I think I might actually film my live reactions to the results and post that on here. That could be a fun thing to do. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me and this channel and keep it going, you can make a one-off donation on Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to follow me on my socials, that's Henry Laux Music. You can stream my music too. But yeah, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I hope to see you in another one very soon. Goodbye.